Okay, hello and welcome. I'm talking about the next episode of Moon Knight. Yes, yes. Wow, damn, after the first episode, this episode I think is much better. I was intrigued from the first episode. There's clearly some underlying mysteries, and there's those still haven't been like fleshed out in this episode yet. But I'm still intrigued. Um, I maybe because I've been watching the new Halo series, and that show's just like so fucking boring compared to this show. But I shouldn't even really be comparing them at all. They're like completely different. But so something about it is just like, wow, this is much better. Maybe I shouldn't be watching them like as soon as they come out. I should be waiting for like a full breakdown of each season. That way, like everything's more fresh in my mind. I don't have to like rewatch all the episodes. But whatever, I guess I'm here now, so fuck it. Let's just talk about the episode. Um, Clearly, I like the duality between Mark and Steven, and how Steven is now breaking out and seems to. I really hope they flesh this out more clearly because when personalities find out that they have an alter ego that like is also controlling their lives, that must be like mind-blowingly crazy, right? Like put yourself in their shoes, like, or for instance, if I had an alter ego I had no fucking idea about, and then just like suddenly I'm seeing him, looking myself in the mirror, and then the mirror's talking back to me. Whoa, that's I'd have to be like, well, I must be on fucking acid right now. Why am I talking to myself in this way? That'd be like existential crisis levels of holy shit, what's going on here. Um, it seems there is a little bit of that in Steven's part. I think he's the personality that came after Mark. This is only theory because it's not stated. I doubt this will even be stated in the show. I don't think they'll ever go that deep into it. This is a superhero movie, so why the fuck would they? This isn't that kind of movie. They're not gonna go super deep into what it means to be a person and all the accompanying jazz that goes with that bullshit. Whatever. I do believe Mark is the original. Mark is the original, and for some reason, shape, or form, Steven was brought out into the world. For some reason, Mark maybe needed him to cope with whatever was happening with him and becoming an avatar. Maybe that's how Steven was created. Again, I doubt they're gonna really go super ham-fisted into that. This is like third or second season shit. Like talking about this, if they even get that far into the show. Who knows if that's gonna happen? It's all hearsay. I have no idea. This is all theories shit. I shouldn't even be talking about it because it doesn't have much to do with the episode other than like character development, which I like, by the way. Um, I want them to go deeper into it, but I'm thinking that it's not gonna happen. Okay, so in this episode we get like more about Mark as a person. We find out he has a wife and he has like a family other than Steven. Something Steven doesn't even know about, which is why I think that Mark is the original and Steven, because Mark has like the regular American accent and Steven is like this amalgamation of British and British accent and tweaky fucking movements, and his personality is vastly different from Mark himself. So I like that the two personalities are very distinct from each other. Mark's more confident. Steven is he's less confident, and he's a bit more tweaky, and he's just almost like a weird person. I think I called him a loser. Yeah, in my last review, I called him a loser. I put that in quotes, loser. But I like that. I like that we're finally getting to see what like at least a little bit of like Mark's perspective. I think we're gonna get even more into this in the next episode because we don't get a lot from it. Basically, the first episode is just Steven trying to cope with what happened from the first episode about he defeated these things. How do they come up about come about? We find out he goes to the security footage of the museum. Turns out all the monsters are somehow invisible. So the like the jackals that Ethan Hawke can summon. There's a lot in this episode, by the way. I'm sorry if I'm rambling. I should just state that before like every review I do, because I'm just always like ranting or rambling about my ideas. There's so many things. Anyway, we find out Ethan Hawke is the one who's summoning these jackals through the power of Ammit. And it turns out that his staff is holding the power of Ammit, of Ammit, at least a slither of it, whatever that means. Um, Enough power to summon one or two jackals at a time, I guess, and judge people by when taking like their hands into his arms is what he does, and then he like sucks the life out of them somehow, I guess, or just automatically kills them. That's still I'm still confused about the power levels of these Egyptian gods compared to like the other power levels of these wider threats we've known throughout the Marvel universe throughout over a decade now. So I'm hoping. I doubt they're gonna go so far into it. Why would they? It'd probably just be another confusing mess. So they're just gonna ham fist all this Egyptian bullshit onto us all at once, and hopefully people will forget about it. As if like it'll make a wider change in the MCU as a whole. It won't at all. Like, how are the Egyptian gods supposed to be a match for Kang? You know. I don't think these showrunners even like remembered Loki. Loki is still fresh in my mind because I fucking hated it. I should really do a fucking Loki rant. How awful it is. They just ruined the entire MCU. I couldn't believe they did it in like 5 minutes of expositional dialogue. It was crazy. It was absolutely insane. But we can skip through that. The synopsis of this episode is pretty straightforward. Steven finds out that Mark has a wife. They interact. Steven has a scarab. He gives it to his wife. I forget her name. It doesn't matter. He basically gets picked up by the people working for Ethan Hawke. And Ethan Hawke is controlling like just a major cult. And that really is like the best term for like his acolytes and the people who are working with him, because they all have the I forget what kind of what's it called, like a balance tattoo, like the Statue of Liberty. She holds the whatever it's called. I'll put it on the screen, whatever it's called, like the balancer of justice, whatever, of good and evil. They all have that tattoo, so they're all part of that cult. Steven's realizing he's like in a terrible situation. Like in and out of this episode, Mark is like talking to him through mirrors because that's the only way they can really communicate. It seems like the connection between them is like weakening, and Mark's like losing control over his body. And this might have something to do with whoever the avatar that is occupying their bodies together. That maybe I'm really just theorizing here because the show's not really stating this otherwise. It's still the second episode, so who knows? Again, I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself. There's a lot of questions, that haven't really been answered, which is okay. Hopefully, they get answered by the end of the season. Hopefully, I'm okay with questions because it's intriguing. It's engaging, and I am invested. Uh, I'm more invested than I thought I would be because I like where it's going. Maybe it's because I like Oscar Isaac as an actor, and I think he's doing a good job in the show as a whole. So I like that. Ethan Hawke is doing a good job too, I guess. It's not really clear what his motivations are, other than like bringing a Met possibly real world, maybe confusing, kinda. Yeah. It's not really clear. He's obviously building some sort of army with this cult, and they're gonna be all changing the world in some way. Is I guess they want to take over the world in some way. I guess is the best way to put it. Again, his motivations aren't entirely clear, but we can like surmise like what he wants through other dialogues he talks about. He seems to be helping people other than just killing them. When he like uses the staff to determine if they're good or evil. Um, that's okay, I guess. We'll get into it. I'm sure once the show goes on. There's a lot of things that I think need to happen in order for the show to be like really good. So far, I'm happy with where it's going. I am intrigued. I am invested. I want to see what happens next. I want to see it. I'm interested. Very interested. I also want to learn more about like the gods and these Egyptian gods and what are their powers. How does this god of justice? I forget his name. The one who's like inhabiting Mark and Steven's body, whatever the his name is, the god Tet, I think. Not Amet. Not Amet is the gator, alligator. Fuck, whatever. It's the crow guy, the guy with the plague doctor. Fuck fur face. um. Okay, that's it. I think this episode is it's okay. It's not the best. There's things I'm not too happy about. Cinematography, music, all that's okay, whatever. The plot, where it's going, I'm intrigued. I want to see more. I think that's it. Everyone have a good day. See ya.